Welcome to Mini Audiobooks. Today, we're diving into The Power Within, Stories of Strength and Transformation. These stories will uplift and empower you. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Did you know 94% of our audience hasn't subscribed yet? Help us grow by joining our community today. The Power Within, Stories of Strength and Transformation by Mini Audiobooks. Introduction. Unlocking the Power Within. We all have moments when life seems to push us to our limits, testing our resolve and challenging our ability to rise. During these times, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or powerless, but there is something extraordinary that lies dormant within each of us, a hidden strength waiting to be unleashed. The Power Within, Stories of Strength and Transformation, is a collection of real-life stories that will show you that no matter how dark or difficult the road ahead may seem, there is a boundless reservoir of power within you capable of fueling your greatest transformation. The truth is, strength doesn't come from moments of comfort. It's born in those critical moments of adversity, in the silent battles we fight when no one is watching, and in the decisions we make when it feels like giving up is the easier choice. Resilience, determination, and personal growth are the key ingredients that define true strength. Not the absence of struggle, but the ability to rise in the face of it. These are the qualities you'll see reflected in the stories ahead. The individuals featured in this book faced daunting challenges. Some hit rock bottom, others confronted unexpected losses, and many navigated situations where their dreams seemed utterly out of reach. Yet, each of them discovered something powerful within. A resilience they didn't know they possessed, an unshakable spirit that refused to be broken, and a profound capacity to transform not only their circumstances but themselves. Their journeys will take you through the fire of life's harshest trials and lead you to the beauty of human transformation. You will see how they used adversity as a catalyst for growth and how that same strength lies dormant in you, waiting to be tapped into. As you read these stories, you will be reminded that transformation isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or for life to align itself in your favor. It's about taking that first courageous step, no matter how small, toward a future that you believe in, one that reflects your true potential. Whether you're on the verge of giving up, feeling stuck, or yearning for a change, these stories will inspire you to embrace your own journey and unlock the power within. Each chapter will take you deeper into the essence of human strength, from rising from rock bottom to embracing the winds of change, to discovering the unbreakable spirit within. You'll see how persistence and a new perspective on success can shape not just the path we walk, but the person we become. You'll also witness the undeniable power of community and how transformation through adversity can be the most beautiful gift of all. We all have a story, and we all face moments where we must choose between standing still or stepping forward into the unknown. Let this book serve as a reminder that no challenge is too great when you learn to trust in the power that already exists within you. The heroes of these stories are no different from you. They started where you may find yourself now, wondering if they could keep going, unsure if they had the strength to continue. But what they discovered through their journeys is that their greatest power wasn't something external. It was already inside them, waiting to be realized. By the time you turn the final page, you'll understand that you, too, are capable of extraordinary things. You'll have seen firsthand how transformation is possible for anyone, no matter their starting point, and you'll be encouraged to begin your own journey with renewed hope and determination. Because, ultimately, the greatest story of strength and transformation will be the one you write for yourself. Welcome to The Power Within. Let these stories ignite the strength that lies in you and guide you toward the transformation you've been waiting for. Chapter 1. Rising from Rock Bottom. When life hits us the hardest, when the world as we know it crumbles and leaves us in a pile of broken dreams and shattered hopes, it's easy to believe that we've reached the end. Yet, in these moments of despair, something incredible happens. From the darkest depths, we discover an inner strength that was always there, waiting to be called upon. Rising from rock bottom isn't just about survival. It's about transformation. It's about rebuilding not just our lives, but ourselves from the ground up. This chapter explores two stories that capture the essence of what it means to rise after the fall. Story 1. A Phoenix from the Ashes. Imagine losing everything, not just a job or a home, but your sense of stability, security, and identity. That was the reality for Sarah, a single mother who, in the span of just a few months, watched her life spiral out of control. The company she worked for unexpectedly went bankrupt, leaving her without a source of income. Soon after, her home was foreclosed, and she found herself facing the unthinkable: homelessness with a young child to care for. Sarah's story begins in a place of complete devastation. In a world that often equates worth with financial success, her sense of self was shattered alongside her material losses. She felt like she had failed, not just herself but her child, who depended on her. The weight of shame, fear, and uncertainty was unbearable. But what set Sarah apart is that she didn't stay in that place of despair. She made a choice, one that would change her life forever. With no resources and no plan, she decided to fight. What did she have to lose? With nothing left, she had to rely on something deeper than external success: her resilience. She picked up temporary jobs, worked nights while her child slept, and eventually enrolled in a community program that provided job training. Through sheer determination and an unyielding belief in her ability to rebuild, Sarah not only regained her footing but transformed her life in ways she hadn't imagined possible. She launched her own small business, a baking company that allowed her to work from home while caring for her child. What started as selling baked goods at local markets grew into a successful online venture. Along the way, she discovered her passion for entrepreneurship and gained the confidence that had been buried beneath the weight of her struggles. Sarah's story isn't just one of survival, it's a story of thriving, of how adversity, when faced with courage and determination, can become the foundation for growth. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, she rebuilt her life from rock bottom, stronger and more determined than before. Story 2. The Comeback Trail. For David, a professional athlete at the peak of his career, life revolved around competition and victory. He had dedicated his entire existence to excelling in sports, and his identity was intrinsically tied to his success on the field. But one day, everything changed. A career-ending injury in his mid-20s left him not only physically broken but emotionally and mentally devastated. The dreams he had built his life around were over in an instant, and the future felt terrifyingly uncertain. David's injury didn't just take away his career, it took away his purpose. For months, he struggled with feelings of worthlessness and depression. He had always been the one pushing his limits, testing his strength, and now, he could barely get out of bed. How could he be of value to the world if he could no longer do what he was best at? But rock bottom became the place where David would discover a new kind of strength. Forced to confront a life without sports, he began exploring new interests and passions. It started small, volunteering to coach kids in his local community, helping them develop the discipline and skills that had once defined him. Over time, David realized that his injury had taken away something physical, but it had given him something far more valuable: a new purpose. David's comeback wasn't about returning to the sports world as an athlete. It was about finding meaning in new ways. He started a non-profit organization that provided sports training and mentorship to underprivileged youth. His experience with loss gave him the empathy to connect with others who had faced setbacks, and his work had a profound impact on countless young lives. The field might no longer be his battleground, but he had found a new way to channel his competitive spirit, one that involved helping others rise above their own challenges. David's story is a testament to the fact that the end of one chapter can be the beginning of something even more meaningful. His comeback wasn't just about recovering from an injury. It was about redefining success and finding new ways to make a difference in the world. Rising from rock bottom is a journey that tests the limits of our endurance, faith, and resilience. It strips us down to the core of who we are, forcing us to confront our deepest fears and vulnerabilities. But within that space of brokenness, there is also opportunity. Opportunity to rebuild, to reimagine, and to rise stronger than before. Both Sarah and David's stories show us that the road from rock bottom isn't just a path to recovery. It's a path to transformation. When we embrace the power within, we don't just survive, we thrive. And so, as you continue reading the stories in this book, remember that your own challenges, however insurmountable they may seem, are not the end. They are the beginning of your rise. What waits on the other side of adversity is a new version of you, stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Chapter 2. Embracing Change. Change is one of the few constants in life, yet it often feels like the hardest thing to accept. Whether it's the comfort of a steady routine, the security of a well-paying job, or the stability of a long-standing relationship, we grow attached to the things that define us. The thought of stepping into the unknown can stir up deep-rooted fears of failure, of rejection, or of losing what we have built. But as the stories in this chapter show, embracing change is not only a path to growth, it's a doorway to freedom, purpose, and fulfillment. It is in letting go of what we know that we discover who we truly are. Story 3. From Fear to Freedom. For years, Rebecca lived what many would consider a dream life. As a high-ranking corporate executive, she enjoyed a six-figure salary, a penthouse apartment in the city, and all the perks that came with her title. She had worked tirelessly to climb the corporate ladder, and by all external measures, she had made it. But deep inside, Rebecca was restless. She felt trapped in a job that no longer fulfilled her, working long hours for something that had lost its meaning. The passion she once had was gone, replaced by the grinding monotony of chasing profit margins and shareholder satisfaction. Yet, every time the thought of leaving her job crossed her mind, she was filled with fear. What if she failed? What if she couldn't find another job? What would people think if she, a successful corporate leader, just walked away from it all? These questions kept her in place for years, until one day, everything changed. Rebecca was called into a meeting with the company's board of directors to discuss a new business strategy. It was a meeting like any other, yet something shifted within her. As she sat there, surrounded by charts, graphs, and numbers, she suddenly realized how disconnected she felt from the entire process. This was not her passion. This was not her life's calling. In that moment of clarity, she made the boldest decision of her life. She quit. For the first time in years, Rebecca was free. But with that freedom came a terrifying uncertainty. Without the structure of a corporate job, without the security of a paycheck, she had to confront her deepest fears. But instead of retreating back to what was familiar, she chose to embrace the unknown. She decided to pursue something she had always been passionate about: photography. What started as a hobby soon turned into a new career. Rebecca's journey wasn't easy. The transition from corporate life to entrepreneurship was full of challenges, from learning how to run her own business to navigating the unpredictability of income. But for the first time in years, she felt alive. Each day was an opportunity to create, to explore, and to live on her own terms. She found joy not in financial success, but in the freedom to pursue what truly made her happy. Her story is a powerful reminder that fear of the unknown often keeps us from living authentically. Embracing change means letting go of the illusions of security and stepping into a life driven by purpose and passion. Rebecca's leap from the corporate world to the world of creative expression wasn't just a career change. It was a transformation from fear to freedom. Story 4. The Leap of Faith. Tom, an entrepreneur at heart, had always dreamed of starting his own business. But life had other plans. After a series of financial struggles and personal setbacks, Tom found himself stuck in a dead-end job just to make ends meet. His entrepreneurial dreams seemed distant and unattainable, clouded by the fear of failure and the practical needs of supporting his family. But no matter how long he stayed in his job, that dream refused to die. Tom couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant for more. He had a vision for a business, a tech startup that he believed could fill a gap in the market. Yet every time he considered taking the plunge, self-doubt would creep in. He had heard countless stories of startups failing, of people going bankrupt chasing unrealistic goals. And with his history of setbacks, he wondered if he was even capable of success. Still, the desire burned within him. And one day, he decided he had to take a chance. It wasn't a grand decision, but rather a series of small steps. Tom began working on his business idea in his free time. Late nights after work, weekends when his family was asleep. Slowly, his concept took shape, and he built his startup from the ground up with limited resources. The leap of faith wasn't a single moment of bravery. It was a continuous choice to bet on himself, even when the odds seemed stacked against him. Tom faced numerous obstacles along the way. His first product launch failed to gain traction, investors were hard to come by, and financial strain weighed heavily on his family. But he didn't give up. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, Tom viewed them as learning opportunities. With each challenge, he refined his strategy, adjusted his business model, and grew as an entrepreneur. Years later, Tom's startup didn't just survive, it thrived. What started as a side hustle became a multi-million-dollar company that revolutionized its industry. His success wasn't the result of blind luck, but of relentless persistence and the willingness to embrace uncertainty. Tom's leap of faith didn't just change his career. It transformed his entire life, giving him the confidence to pursue other passions and help others on their entrepreneurial journeys. Tom's story teaches us that growth often comes from embracing uncertainty. The path may be unclear, and the risks may be real, but without taking the leap, we'll never know what we're capable of achieving. Change isn't comfortable, but it's the key to unlocking our potential. Embracing change is about moving beyond the comfort zone of what we know and stepping into the unknown with faith, courage, and determination. Whether it's leaving a stable job to follow a passion, like Rebecca, or risking it all to build something from scratch, like Tom, these stories show that the greatest transformations often come when we choose to embrace uncertainty. Both Rebecca and Tom's stories reflect the universal truth that change, though frightening, is often the gateway to our deepest fulfillment. We fear what lies beyond the horizon, but as we take the leap, we find that it's in the process of navigating the unknown that we discover our true strength. As you continue reading, reflect on the changes you might be resisting in your own life. What dreams have you buried under the weight of fear? What paths have you not explored because they seem too risky? Remember, change isn't something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. It's the vehicle through which we evolve, grow, and become the people we are meant to be. The journey ahead may be uncertain, but it's within that uncertainty that the power within is truly unleashed. Chapter 3. Unbreakable Spirit. In this chapter, we delve into the stories of two individuals who, despite facing insurmountable odds, discovered their unbreakable spirit. What makes a person unbreakable isn't the absence of hardship, but the ability to rise stronger with each challenge. The inner strength these individuals demonstrate goes beyond mere survival. They transform their pain into purpose, their struggles into strength, and their scars into a testament of resilience. True spirit isn't defined by the hardships one faces, but by how one chooses to navigate through them. It's not just about enduring suffering. It's about finding peace, purpose, and even joy in the aftermath. As you read the following stories, reflect on your own journey and the unbreakable spirit that lies within you. It's there, waiting to be unleashed. Story 5. Walking through the storm. War leaves scars, both seen and unseen. For a war veteran named James, the battle didn't end on the battlefield. It continued long after he returned home. He carried with him memories that refused to fade, nightmares that haunted his every night, and the weight of experiences that seemed too heavy to bear. PTSD became his constant companion, a silent enemy that he had to face alone. At first, James tried to suppress his pain, burying himself in distractions. But no matter how hard he tried, the storm inside him raged on. His mind was a battlefield, filled with echoes of the past. The walls of his home, once a refuge, now closed in on him. The world around him seemed alien, and even among friends, he felt alone. It was in this isolation that he stumbled upon a small canvas and a set of paints his sister had left behind as a gift. At first, James didn't know what to do with the brushes. Art wasn't something he had ever pursued, and painting seemed like an impossible escape from the weight he was carrying. But one evening, During a particularly dark moment, he picked up the brush and began to paint. The strokes were hesitant at first, but soon they became bolder, each one a release, each color a way to express emotions he couldn't put into words. What began as a quiet escape turned into a form of therapy. Through art, James found a way to make sense of the chaos within. His pain, anger, fear, and grief found expression on the canvas. He didn't paint scenes of war. He painted hope, light, and peace. The more he painted, the more he felt the weight begin to lift. His hands, once so used to holding weapons, now held brushes that helped heal his spirit. But the true transformation came when James decided to share his art with others. He began to volunteer at a local center for veterans, teaching art as therapy. Through helping others, James found a deeper sense of healing. It was no longer about his pain alone. It became about creating a path for others to walk through their own storms. In his service to others, James found peace, showing that healing comes not just from within, but from reaching out. James's story reminds us that our spirit is unbreakable, even in the face of trauma. What we experience may shape us, but it does not have to define us. The human spirit, like art, is capable of transformation, of taking the darkest shades of life and creating something beautiful. Story 6. The Quiet Warrior. In the hallways of high school, Andrew felt invisible, except to those who bullied him. Day after day, the verbal taunts and physical abuse chipped away at his self-esteem. His quiet nature made him an easy target, and the more he shrank into himself, the more relentless the bullies became. For years, Andrew endured this torment in silence. He told no one, not even his parents. Every day was a battle to survive, and every night, he questioned his worth. He wanted to fight back, to defend himself, but he didn't know how. He wasn't physically strong, nor did he have the confidence to stand up to his tormentors. It felt like a war he could never win. But what the bullies didn't see was the strength growing within Andrew. Slowly, he began to channel his pain into something greater than himself. He found solace in reading about heroes, warriors who fought battles not with weapons, but with inner strength. He devoured stories of those who stood tall in the face of adversity and realized that real strength didn't always have to be loud. Sometimes, strength is quiet, steady, and unwavering. One day, after a particularly brutal encounter, Andrew made a decision. He was done being a victim, but instead of fighting fire with fire, he decided to fight back with kindness. He joined a local anti-bullying organization, sharing his story not as a victim, but as a survivor. He began speaking at schools, not just about the pain of being bullied, but about the power of resilience. His message was simple. Even in the face of cruelty, you have the power to choose how you respond. Andrew's courage inspired others. His voice, once silenced by fear, became a beacon of hope for students who had endured similar pain. He became an advocate for change, using his experience to show that the quietest among us can often be the strongest. The power of his spirit wasn't found in physical strength, but in his ability to rise above the cruelty and use his pain to fuel a movement that empowered others. In Andrew's story, we see that the warrior within doesn't always wear armor. Sometimes, the greatest warriors are those who fight their battles in silence, enduring cruelty and choosing compassion over vengeance. Andrew's quiet strength transformed his pain into purpose, proving that even the smallest acts of courage can ripple outward and create lasting change. Both of these stories in Chapter 3 reflect the unbreakable spirit that lies dormant within all of us. It is the spirit that refuses to be defeated by external circumstances, the spirit that finds light in the darkest of places. Whether through personal healing or in the quiet advocacy of others, these individuals exemplify the kind of resilience that can inspire us all. The unbreakable spirit is not just a testament to survival. It's a reminder that we have the power to transform our pain into something meaningful. It shows that no matter how great the storm, we have the strength to walk through it and emerge stronger on the other side. Through service, creativity, and quiet determination, we all have the ability to rise above our challenges and become warriors of our own lives. Chapter 4. The power of persistence. Persistence is more than a trait. It's a mindset that transforms challenges into stepping stones. It's what keeps people moving forward when the path seems insurmountable. In this chapter, we explore two remarkable stories that showcase the power of persistence, where refusing to give up becomes the key to unlocking success and breaking down barriers. Story 7. Never give up. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into something, only to be met with rejection again and again. For many, this would be enough to walk away, but not for Mark, a struggling writer who refused to give up. His dream of being a published author faced countless hurdles, from failed submissions to publishers who didn't even bother to respond. Every rejection letter felt like a blow to his confidence, but Mark didn't let it stop him. He kept writing, editing, and improving his craft. Each setback fueled his determination. Mark's story is one of relentless pursuit in the face of discouragement. While others might have seen a wall, Mark saw a challenge to climb over. He invested in himself, attended workshops, and sought feedback. He turned rejection into redirection, learning from every critique and using it to grow. He realized that success wasn't about getting it right the first time. It was about staying in the game long enough to win. Eventually, Mark's persistence paid off. His novel was accepted by a small independent publisher. That moment of triumph was not just about seeing his book in print. It was about the journey, the countless hours of dedication, and the refusal to give up on his dream. Mark's journey reminds us that success doesn't always come on the first try. Sometimes it's the 10th, 20th, or 100th attempt. The power of persistence is what turns no into yes. Mark's story teaches us that the greatest victories are often the result of unwavering persistence. It's about continuing to show up, even when the world says no. His eventual success became a beacon of hope for other aspiring writers, showing that persistence is the ultimate key to unlocking our true potential. Story 8. Climbing the mountain. In the second story of this chapter, we meet Emily, a mountaineer with a dream to conquer some of the highest peaks in the world. But Emily's journey was anything but easy. She faced physical limitations, including a knee injury that would have caused most people to give up. Yet, the desire to stand at the summit of the world's highest mountains was stronger than any physical barrier. Emily's persistence in overcoming her injury, training her body, and pushing through mental and physical challenges shows that true strength comes not from avoiding obstacles, but from persisting through them. There were days when she doubted herself, and nights when the pain was so intense it felt like her body was betraying her. But she knew that persistence was the only way forward. Her climb was not just about reaching the peak. It was about the determination to push past her limits, to redefine what was possible for her. She learned that persistence isn't just about never quitting. It's about adapting, reassessing the path forward, and sometimes slowing down to make sure you can keep going. Emily discovered that persistence requires a deep sense of inner strength, where each step becomes a victory in itself, even when the summit feels far away. When Emily finally reached the top of one of the most difficult mountains she had set her sights on, the sense of accomplishment was overwhelming. But what she cherished most wasn't standing on the summit. It was the journey that got her there. Every tough day, every moment of doubt, and every setback had made the victory all the more meaningful. Her persistence had not only gotten her to the top of the mountain, but had transformed her as a person. Through Emily's story, we learn that persistence is the ability to keep moving forward, even when the destination seems out of reach. It's about overcoming the mental and physical barriers that life throws at us, and finding strength in every small victory along the way. Emily's success didn't come just from her physical ability, but from the mental resilience that allowed her to continue climbing, even when the odds were against her. Persistence is not just about never giving up. It's about the ability to keep going in the face of adversity, to find strength when everything else says stop. Both Mark and Emily show us that persistence is the key to breaking through limitations, whether those are external challenges or internal doubts. Their stories remind us that while success may not come quickly or easily, it is persistence that transforms dreams into reality. In the end, The power of persistence is about staying on the path long enough to see the rewards, even if the journey is far longer and harder than we expected. It's about refusing to give up on ourselves, our dreams, and our potential, no matter how many obstacles stand in our way. This chapter inspires us to embrace persistence in our own lives. Whether we're chasing a personal dream, working to overcome an obstacle, or simply trying to improve ourselves day by day, the lesson is clear. Persistence is the fuel that powers us toward transformation. It is the unbreakable force that moves us forward, and it is through persistence that we discover the true depth of our own strength. Chapter 5. Redefining Success. What does it mean to be successful? Is it measured by wealth, status, or fame? Or is there a deeper, more meaningful way to define it? In this chapter, we explore two stories that challenge traditional views of success and reveal how true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from inner peace, purpose, and the relationships we cultivate along the way. Story 9. The Measure of Success. James had it all: a luxurious house, fast cars, and a bank account that most could only dream of. For years, he had climbed the corporate ladder, working long hours, sacrificing time with family and friends, and chasing the idea that more money meant more happiness. By all outward appearances, he was the epitome of success. But inside, James felt empty. One day, in a devastating turn of events, James lost everything. A series of bad investments led to the collapse of his business, and within a few months, the life he had spent decades building came crumbling down. The house, the cars, the status, it all disappeared, leaving James to face a harsh reality. Without the material possessions that once defined him, who was he? For a while, James spiraled into despair. He had tied his identity to his financial success for so long that losing it felt like losing himself. But in the quiet moments of reflection that followed, James began to question what success truly meant. He started to notice the things he had neglected in his pursuit of wealth: his health, his family, and his sense of inner peace. These were the things money could never buy. As he rebuilt his life, James found new meaning in the relationships he had once overlooked. He spent time reconnecting with his children, strengthening bonds with friends, and giving back to his community. He discovered that the greatest success was not found in the size of his bank account, but in the depth of his connections with others and the sense of purpose he found in helping those in need. James's story reminds us that success is not a destination marked by material gain. It's about finding fulfillment in what truly matters: love, purpose, and inner peace. His journey of losing everything and gaining a deeper understanding of himself shows us that sometimes life has to strip away the superficial to reveal what is truly valuable. Through James, we learn that success is not something to be measured by society's standards. It's a personal journey of discovering what brings us joy, fulfillment, and a sense of contribution. His transformation challenges us to redefine our own understanding of success and consider what it means to live a life that is truly rich. Story 10. Beyond the Finish Line. Emma had always been a runner. From the moment she could walk, her feet carried her swiftly over the ground, and as she grew older, running became her passion. She loved the freedom, the rhythm, and the challenge of pushing her body to its limits. After years of training, she set her sights on a marathon, determined to cross that coveted finish line. For Emma, the marathon represented more than just a physical challenge. It was a metaphor for her life. She believed that success meant achieving goals, overcoming obstacles, and reaching milestones. The finish line was the ultimate symbol of triumph, and she trained tirelessly to achieve it. But as Emma began the marathon, something unexpected happened. Mile after mile, she felt a sense of unease growing within her. It wasn't the physical strain. Her body was strong and well prepared. It was the realization that the finish line wasn't the source of her happiness. As she ran, she noticed the beauty around her. The people cheering on the sidelines, the camaraderie among the runners, the joy of simply being in motion. For the first time, she began to see the journey itself as the reward. When Emma finally crossed the finish line, it didn't feel like the moment she had always imagined. Yes, there was a sense of accomplishment, but it wasn't the grand, life-changing victory she had expected. Instead, she realized that the real success had been in the miles before the finish line. In the preparation, the discipline, the perseverance, and the joy of the run itself. Emma's story is one of transformation. She had spent her life chasing goals, believing that happiness and success would come at the end of the race. But in the process, she discovered that success is not about reaching a destination. It's about embracing the journey. Her experience teaches us that life's true victories are found in the moments we often overlook, in the process of growth, learning, and becoming. Redefining success in our own lives. James and Emma's stories challenge us to reconsider how we define success. In a world that often equates success with wealth, status, and outward achievement, these stories remind us that true fulfillment comes from within. It's not about how much we have, but how deeply we live. James shows us that success is found in our relationships, our sense of purpose, and our ability to find peace in the present moment. His journey from riches to true wealth teaches us that material possessions are fleeting, but the love and connection we build with others are lasting. Emma's story reveals that success is not about crossing the finish line, but about appreciating the journey. It's about finding joy in the process, in the small victories, and in the experiences that shape us along the way. Her realization reminds us that life is not a race to be won, but a path to be traveled with mindfulness and gratitude. As we reflect on these stories, we are invited to redefine success in our own lives. What brings us true fulfillment? Is it the pursuit of external validation? Or is it the inner peace that comes from living authentically? Can we find success in the journey, rather than waiting for it at the destination? This chapter encourages us to look beyond the traditional markers of success and seek a deeper, more meaningful sense of achievement. It inspires us to cultivate relationships, embrace purpose, and find joy in the present moment. In doing so, we unlock a new understanding of success, one that is not bound by societal expectations, but rooted in our own inner truth. True success is not something we acquire, it's something we live. And when we redefine success on our own terms, we discover that the power to feel fulfilled has been within us all along. Chapter 6. The Power of Community. In times of personal struggle, it's easy to feel isolated, as if we are navigating the challenges of life alone. Yet, one of the most powerful sources of strength comes not from within, but from the people around us. Community has the power to lift us up, to carry us through hardship, and to remind us that we are never truly alone. In this chapter, we explore how collective strength can transform lives and how individuals can rise together in the face of adversity, demonstrating that we are stronger when we come together. Story 11. Strength in Numbers. In a quiet town nestled in the heart of the Midwest, life moved at a steady, unhurried pace. People knew their neighbors, children played in the streets, and everyone felt secure in the comfort of a close-knit community. But one fateful evening, everything changed. A powerful storm swept through the town, leaving devastation in its wake. Homes were torn apart, businesses destroyed, and what had once been a picturesque landscape was reduced to rubble. For many in the town, the storm marked the beginning of despair. Some had lost everything: their homes, their livelihoods, and their sense of security. It seemed impossible to rebuild, and the weight of the loss was too heavy to bear alone. But as the dust settled, something extraordinary began to happen. Rather than succumbing to the despair that threatened to consume them, the people of the town rallied together. Neighbor helped neighbor, and strangers became friends. Volunteers from across the region arrived to lend a hand, and soon, the town was buzzing with activity. Families who had lost their homes were given temporary shelter by their neighbors. Businesses pooled their resources to ensure that no one went without. Children whose schools had been destroyed were taught in makeshift classrooms set up by local teachers and community centers. What had once seemed like an impossible task became manageable, not because of individual effort, but because of the collective will of the people. Over time, the town began to rebuild, not just physically but emotionally as well. The shared experience of loss and recovery forged bonds that ran deeper than ever before. The community had not only survived the storm but had emerged stronger, more connected, and more resilient. Through this story, we learn that true strength lies not in facing challenges alone, but in finding support and solidarity in the people around us. The town's recovery reminds us that in moments of hardship, we don't have to carry the burden on our own. When we lean on each other, we can rebuild not only our lives but our spirits. The power of community is a force that can lift us from the ashes of disaster and remind us that together, we are capable of incredible things. Story 12. The Helping Hand. At just 24 years old, Maya found herself facing the challenge of a lifetime. Fresh out of college, she had accepted a teaching position in a small, underprivileged neighborhood where education was often an afterthought. The school was in disrepair, resources were scarce, and the students came from families struggling with poverty, crime, and a lack of opportunities. On her first day, Maya felt overwhelmed. The odds seemed stacked against her, and she questioned whether she was equipped to make a difference. But as she got to know her students, she realized that they were not defined by their circumstances. They were bright, curious, and full of potential. Children with dreams, who just needed someone to believe in them. Maya knew she couldn't change their environment overnight, but she could offer them hope and guidance. She began to build relationships with her students, learning about their lives, their struggles, and their aspirations. She created a classroom where they felt safe, valued, and supported. Over time, her students began to trust her, and in turn, they started to believe in themselves. But Maya's impact didn't stop at the classroom door. She saw the struggles the community faced and knew that education alone wasn't enough. So, she began organizing after-school programs, tutoring sessions, and community events, bringing together parents, local businesses, and volunteers to create a support system for the children. Slowly but surely, Maya's efforts began to take root. Her students' grades improved, but more importantly, their sense of self-worth grew. They began to see a future beyond the limits of their neighborhood, and many went on to pursue higher education, breaking the cycle of poverty that had held their families back for generations. Maya's work in the classroom had sparked a transformation in the entire community, proving that one person's determination can have a ripple effect on countless lives. Maya's story is a powerful reminder of the impact we can have when we dedicate ourselves to the service of others. She didn't have all the answers, and she couldn't solve every problem, but by offering a helping hand, she empowered her students and their families to rise above their circumstances. Through her dedication, Maya showed that one person's strength can ignite a movement of change, proving that the power of community can transform lives in ways that extend far beyond the classroom. The power of coming together. Both stories in this chapter illustrate a fundamental truth. We are stronger when we unite. In a world that often emphasizes individual achievement and self-reliance, it's easy to forget the immense power that comes from working together toward a common goal. But when we do, we unlock a strength far greater than what any one person can muster on their own. The small town that rebuilt after the storm teaches us that community is not just a collection of individuals living in the same place. It's a network of support, love, and shared responsibility. In times of crisis, it's the collective spirit that enables us to overcome the greatest obstacles and rise stronger on the other side. Their journey of recovery reminds us that no matter how difficult life becomes, we are never truly alone when we have a community to lean on. Maya's journey as a young teacher reveals the power of one person's dedication to uplifting others. Her commitment to her students sparked a transformation that extended far beyond the classroom, demonstrating how the efforts of a single individual can inspire and mobilize an entire community. Through her story, we learn that the strength of community lies not only in numbers, but in the belief that every person has something valuable to contribute. In our own lives, we are often faced with challenges that feel insurmountable when we face them alone. But these stories remind us that we don't have to. Whether we are rebuilding after disaster or lifting others through mentorship and service, the power of community is always within reach. When we come together, we amplify our strengths, share our burdens, and create lasting change. This chapter invites us to reflect on the ways we can tap into the power of community in our own lives. How can we offer a helping hand to those around us? How can we rally together in times of need? And how can we build connections that not only lift ourselves but uplift others? Through community, we find a source of strength that transforms lives and creates a legacy of resilience, hope, and collective growth. When we unlock the power of community, we realize that together, we are truly unstoppable. Chapter 7. Transformation through adversity. Adversity is life's greatest teacher, one that often comes uninvited but leaves a lasting impact on those who face it head-on. It's in the crucible of hardship that we are tested, molded, and ultimately transformed. For many, adversity feels like an overwhelming force, threatening to derail dreams and aspirations. But for those who choose to rise above, who lean into the storm rather than away from it, adversity becomes a gateway to profound personal growth and transformation. This chapter explores two incredible stories of individuals who not only survived life's fiercest trials, but emerged from them stronger, wiser, and more empowered than ever before. Story 13. The Gift of Hardship. Jenna was no stranger to the grind of life. As a driven, career-focused woman, she spent her days managing a bustling career while trying to balance personal commitments. But when she was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 35, everything she had carefully built began to crumble. The diagnosis hit her like a tidal wave, pulling her under in a whirlpool of fear and uncertainty. For the first time in her life, she felt powerless. The months that followed were filled with hospital visits, chemotherapy sessions, and the painful physical toll of the disease. She lost her hair, her energy, and what felt like her sense of self. Yet, even in the darkest moments, Jenna found a small, glowing ember of strength. It wasn't loud or obvious. It was quiet, like a whisper in her soul that refused to be silenced. That whisper said, "You're still here. You can still fight." During her treatment, Jenna began journaling as a way to process her emotions. What started as a way to cope with fear and sadness turned into a journey of self-discovery. Through her writing, Jenna found clarity about what truly mattered in life. She realized that the things she once prioritized, career success, social status, and outward appearances, were not the foundation of happiness. What really mattered was her health, her relationships, and the ability to live each day with purpose. As she continued her battle with cancer, Jenna's mindset began to shift. Instead of viewing her illness as an insurmountable obstacle, she began to see it as a catalyst for transformation. Cancer wasn't the enemy. It was the challenge that would push her to uncover her true strength. And with every passing day, she felt that strength grow, not just physically but emotionally and spiritually. After months of grueling treatment, Jenna was declared cancer-free. But her journey didn't end there. She emerged from her battle with a new sense of purpose, driven to help others facing similar struggles. Jenna became an advocate for cancer patients, raising awareness and providing emotional support to those who felt lost in the face of their diagnosis. She often said, "Cancer gave me the gift of seeing life in a way I never had before. It showed me that even in our darkest hours, we have the power to find light." Jenna's story is a testament to the fact that adversity, no matter how brutal, can be a profound teacher. The hardship she faced didn't just challenge her body, it transformed her soul. Through the crucible of suffering, she discovered an inner reservoir of resilience and compassion that would shape the rest of her life. Story 14. Through the Fire. Jason had always been fearless. As a firefighter, he spent years running into burning buildings while others were running out, pulling people from the jaws of death, and facing danger head-on every day. He had seen it all: devastating fires, life-or-death moments, and the harsh reality of loss. But nothing could have prepared him for the fire that almost claimed his own life. One winter night, Jason and his crew responded to a call in a residential area where a house was engulfed in flames. The smoke was thick, and the fire spread rapidly. Jason and his team worked swiftly, but as he pushed deeper into the house to ensure no one was left behind, A sudden explosion sent him flying across the room. In an instant, the building collapsed around him, trapping him under debris. In those critical moments, Jason's thoughts raced. Would this be the end? He had saved so many lives. Was this where his story would end, alone, buried beneath the remnants of a burning house? But something inside him refused to surrender. It wasn't just his training kicking in. It was something deeper. An instinct, an unwavering will to survive, began to stir within him. After what felt like an eternity, Jason was pulled from the wreckage by his fellow firefighters. He had survived, but he was left with severe burns and injuries that would take months to heal. The physical scars were one thing, but the emotional toll was far greater. Jason struggled with trauma, reliving the fire over and over in his mind, questioning whether he could ever return to the job he loved. But in the midst of his recovery, Jason found a new sense of purpose. Instead of letting fear and trauma define him, he chose to redefine what it meant to be a hero. He began speaking at schools and community centers, not just about fire safety, but about resilience, courage, and the power of pushing through fear. His near-death experience had changed him, but it hadn't broken him. If anything, it had ignited a deeper sense of purpose in his heart. Jason's story is about more than survival. It's about transformation. He didn't just return to firefighting. He emerged from the fire with a renewed sense of what truly matters. He realized that real strength isn't just about being fearless in the face of danger. It's about embracing vulnerability, acknowledging fear, and still choosing to move forward. Reflections on transformation through adversity. The stories of Jenna and Jason serve as powerful reminders that adversity, though painful, has the ability to ignite profound transformation. Both individuals faced unimaginable hardship, yet it was within these challenges that they found their greatest strength. They didn't simply overcome, they were reborn, with a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. Adversity is not something we seek, but it is something we all inevitably face. It is in these moments, when we are pushed to our limits, that we discover who we truly are. We have a choice: to allow hardship to defeat us or to let it shape us into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate individuals. True transformation comes not from avoiding pain, but from confronting it, learning from it, and emerging stronger on the other side. As you reflect on these stories, remember that the power to transform through adversity lies within you, too. Life's challenges are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a new chapter, one in which you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Embrace the fire, for it is in the flames of adversity that your true strength is forged. Conclusion. The journey to unleashing your power. As we reach the end of this journey through stories of strength and transformation, we are reminded of a profound truth. Life's greatest challenges often hold the key to unlocking our deepest power. Each story shared in these chapters offers a window into the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Whether rising from rock bottom, embracing change, or persisting through endless rejection, the individuals in these stories found a way to not only survive but thrive, using their inner strength as fuel for transformation. The universal lesson is clear. True strength is not about avoiding adversity, but about how we choose to respond to it. It's found in the quiet determination to rise when life knocks us down, in the courage to chase new dreams when old ones fade, and in the wisdom to understand that every setback is an opportunity for growth. These stories illustrate that resilience, persistence, and self-belief are the cornerstones of personal transformation. But the journey doesn't end here. It's only just beginning. The power within each of us is limitless, waiting to be tapped into. No matter where you are on your path, know that you have the strength to face whatever comes your way. The challenges ahead are not roadblocks, but stepping stones toward a fuller, more empowered life. As you move forward, let these stories serve as a reminder that the power within you is real and ever-present. You are capable of great things. Whether you're dealing with personal struggles, professional obstacles, or simply striving to grow into the best version of yourself, remember that transformation comes from within. It's your mindset, your persistence, and your unwavering belief in your own strength that will propel you forward. Embrace your own story. You have the ability to rise above, to persevere, to redefine success on your own terms. The ripple effects of your strength will touch the lives of others, just as these stories have touched yours. When you unlock the power within, you become a source of inspiration for those around you, showing them that no challenge is too great and no dream too distant when one taps into their inner strength. So, take the next step in your journey. Continue to push beyond your limits, face your fears, and embrace the growth that comes from life's challenges. Your transformation has already begun, and the power within you is greater than you ever imagined. Now, it's time to unleash it. Thank you for listening to The Power Within, here on Mini Audiobooks. We hope these stories of strength inspired you. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, share it with others, and make sure to subscribe. 94% of you haven't yet, and we'd love for you to be part of our growing family. See you in the next audiobook.